The story begins with the summoning of 4 heroes to the kingdom of Rajseeger. Mukohda Tsuyoshi, one of the summoned heroes, possesses the unique skill online grocery, an ability that is deemed absurd and useless in this world. The other 3 heroes, equipped with powerful skills like holy sword wielding and sacred magic, pledge to save the kingdom from the Demon King. Unconvinced by the royal family's plea and aware of his own limitations, Mukohda chooses to decline the hero's role. He believes he would only cause trouble and prefers a simple life. The king offers Mukohda 20 gold coins as consolation hush money. Leaving the castle, Mukohda quickly realizes his modern clothing makes him stand out and decides to buy new clothes. Through conversations with locals, he discovers that skills like item box and appraisal, which he possesses, are incredibly rare and highly coveted in this world. Mukohda learns about the rising tensions in the kingdom and the rumors of impending border closures. Deciding to leave before it's too late, he heads to the Adventurers Guild to hire escorts to the neighboring kingdom of Venan. At the guild, he meets Werner, a C-rank adventurer, and his party: Vincent, swordsman; Rita, scout; Ramon, mage; and Franca, healer. Mukohda negotiates a deal: 8 gold coins and all meals provided in exchange for safe passage to Venan. During their journey, the party encounters a red boar. The adventurers swiftly take down the beast, planning to sell its hide and fangs while taking only a small portion of the meat. Mukohda, finding this wasteful, suggests storing the entire boar in his item box, subtly using his online grocery skill to mask his true abilities. Mukohda prepares a meal of pot au feu for the party, using ingredients from his online grocery. The adventurers are astonished by the taste and experience a significant boost in their strength, and MP Mukohda realizes the food from his world has special effects in this world and decides to keep it a secret to avoid unwanted attention. He commits to using local ingredients as much as possible to conceal his online grocery skill. Later, while preparing ginger-fried pork using red boar meat, a legendary beast, Fenrir, appears before the party. The beast, named Fel, demands to be fed the delicious-smelling dish. Mukohda complies, and after devouring several servings, Fel declares that she is pleased and wishes to form a familiar contract with Mukohda. Although hesitant, Mukohda accepts, and the contract is formed. Fel eagerly anticipates her 3 meals a day. In this episode, we meet Mukohda, who is stuck in another world with his powerful familiar, Fenrir, a legendary wolf he calls Fel. Fel is obsessed with delicious food, and Mukohda is a great cook, always trying to please his hungry companion. They start their journey to the kingdom of Venan with a group of adventurers. Everyone is nervous because Fenrir is known for destroying an entire country in the past. Mukohda also worries about drawing unwanted attention, which is why he left his last place. Fel, though, doesn't care about any of this. He just wants to eat. To feed Fel, Mukohda tells him to hunt, surprising the adventurers with his control over the beast. Fel catches a rock bird, a strong monster. The adventurers help prepare the meat, getting some for themselves in return. Mukohda cooks up a tasty teriyaki rock bird, making sure his companions are fed before giving a giant portion to Fel. When they reach Venan's border, they are met with a lot of soldiers who are scared of Fel. Werner, the leader of the adventurers, talks to the border guard, Edgar, while Mukohda worries about a fight. Edgar questions Mukohda about controlling Fel and is concerned for everyone's safety. Fel, showing he understands them, promises Edgar that he won't hurt anyone unless they attack first. This calms everyone down, and they are allowed in, but with a strict warning to keep Fel in check. Mukohda learns about the entry tax and how guilds can help. Werner suggests joining either the Adventurers Guild or the Merchants Guild. Mukohda chooses the Merchants Guild, thinking he can sell food and ingredients as he travels. However, there are concerns about how to handle the meat from the large monsters Fel catches, so the Adventurers Guild seems necessary too. In the city, a servant of the important Margrave invites Mukohda to his estate. Mukohda politely refuses, not wanting to attract attention. But Fel steps in and scares the servant, showing the danger of trying to use him. Mukohda, thankful for their help, says goodbye to the adventurers. He decides to join both the Merchants and Adventurers Guilds, realizing he needs to sell monster parts and keep Fel well fed. At the Merchant's Guild, Mukohda shows off his special salt and pepper from his online grocery skill. The guild master is amazed by how good they are and offers 17 gold coins, a huge profit from the 10 copper coins they originally cost. This shows how useful Mukohda's skill is in this world. Mukohda then joins the Adventurers Guild, even though he doesn't really want to. He's placed at the lowest rank and can only take easy quests. The guild warns him that adventurers are on their own and won't get help if they're hurt. He chooses a simple herb-gathering quest to start. Through it all, Fel constantly reminds Mukohda that he's hungry and wants more of the steak and sauce he had before. Mukohda, a little annoyed, is still determined to find new, delicious recipes for Fel. Mukohda, realizing garlic might be bad for Fel, and decides to use his appraisal skill to check. He's shocked to discover Fel's incredibly high stats, proving just how powerful and unique his familiar truly is. Mukohda, a rookie adventurer, starting his first quest to collect medicinal herbs. He's eager to make the most of his registration fee and is excited about the task. His companion, Fel, a giant, powerful wolf-like creature, cares more about food than anything else. Fel insists on sticking with Mukohda for protection, sensing monsters nearby. Mukohda suggests they split up, with Fel hunting while he gathers herbs. Mukohda quickly finds the herbs he needs, and even gathers extra. With his work done, he starts preparing lunch using simple ingredients, spaghetti with meat sauce, to save money since they don't have any monster meat. Fel soon returns with a rock bird and mentions more prey he left at the forest's edge because he couldn't carry it all. Mukohda finishes cooking the spaghetti, wishing for softer noodles but settling for the al dente style. After lunch, Mukohda wants to deliver the herbs to the Adventurers Guild before the day ends. Fel, impatient with Mukohda's slow pace, offers him a ride. Mukohda reluctantly agrees, only to regret it as Fel races at terrifying speeds. By the time they reach the town, Mukohda is shaken and scolds Fel, who brushes it off, saying it's Mukohda's fault if he fell off. At the Adventurers Guild, Mukohda turns in the herbs and gets his reward from the receptionist, Bianca. He then tells her about the monster carcasses Fel hunted. At the monster butcher, Mukohda reveals the massive haul of monsters Fel caught. The butcher is amazed, especially by the high-rank monsters like B-rank and A-rank creatures. He strongly suspects Fel is a Fenrir, but Mukohda tries to claim Fel is a great wolf to keep things simple. The next day, Mukohda collects the processed meat, his payment, and magic stones from the butcher, who confirms his belief that Fel is a Fenrir. Mukohda, now wealthier and more aware of Fel's reputation, decides to leave town with Fel for new adventures. Fel, strengthened by all the delicious food Mukohda cooks, shows off his power by easily defeating a variety of monsters, including a chimera, a rare and dangerous creature. He brings back an overwhelming pile of prey, leaving Mukohda stunned by the sheer volume of meat to process. Mukohda and Fel enjoying a delicious meal of cooked cockatrice. Mukohda, curious about Fel's hunting methods, asks if he uses magic. This prompts Fel to try and teach Mukohda some basic magic. He explains that it's difficult to describe the sensation of magic and demonstrates by manipulating it within his own body. Mukohda, touching Fel, feels a warmth that gives him a slight understanding. Fel encourages him to practice. Mukohda's attempts at fire magic are, unfortunately, quite pathetic. Fel mercilessly mocks his lack of progress, highlighting the comedic dynamic between the cautious Mukohda and the arrogant, powerful Fel. Later, they encounter a group of goblins. Fel, perhaps seeking to accelerate Mukohda's development, or simply for his own amusement, throws Mukohda into the fray, instructing him to fight. Initially terrified, Mukohda manages to use fireball magic successfully. After the fight, he discovers his stats have increased, and he's acquired the fire magic skill. Fel, in a rare moment of generosity, gifts Mukohda a magic stone from a goblin king. Exhausted from the battle, Mukohda forgoes cooking a proper meal and instead opts for sweet treats. Fel, a staunch carnivore, is initially resistant but quickly falls for the allure of melon bread and custard buns. Their conversation reveals Fel's remarkable immunity to illness, which he attributes to being blessed by the goddess of wind, Ninrir. This sparks a humorous scene where Mukohda, envious of Fel's divine advantage, pleads for his own blessings from any god who will listen. Arriving in a bustling town, they encounter a problem. Fel's imposing appearance is mistaken for a dangerous wolf monster, causing panic. The captain, after verifying Fel as Mukohda's familiar, sternly warns him of the responsibility he bears for Fel's actions and the dire consequences should any accidents occur. This underscores the precariousness of Mukohda's situation and the potential dangers of traveling with such a powerful, albeit gluttonous, familiar. Mukohda, needing to chart a course for their travels, then embarks on a quest to find a map. However, his search is unsuccessful. He ends up treating a group of adventurers to drinks in a pub in exchange for information. The adventurers, sensing his desperation, offer him a map for the steep price of 1 gold coin. Mukohda, though feeling ripped off, reluctantly accepts the deal. This unfortunate event highlights his naivety and lack of experience in navigating this world. He may be a skilled cook, but he has much to learn about survival and interacting with others. Despite the setback, Mukohda is determined to continue his journey. He chooses to travel east, following the map towards a country by the sea, intrigued by the prospect of new experiences and flavors. The goddess of wind, Ninrir, questioning why her servant, Fenrir, has formed a familiar contract with a seemingly ordinary human. Mukohda and Fel arrive at a lake where Fel uses his power to fish by electrocuting them. Mukohda is concerned, but Fel assures him they will revive. Mukohda finds some trout and a large king trout that he plans to give to Fel. Fel, however, points out a colorful, possibly poisonous fish that he wants. Mukohda is worried that the tingling flavor Fel enjoys is due to poison, but Fel is unaffected. Mukohda, recalling a cooking tutorial video, Wandering Chef, prepares salt-grilled trout and fish meuniere. Fel is delighted and wants to eat a lake's worth, but Mukohda is too full. They encounter a slime that Fel dismisses as weak. Mukohda, however, realizes the slime can dissolve rubbish. Fel then reveals that the slime has become Mukohda's familiar because it wanted to, and Mukohda accepted it. Mukohda names the slime Sway. Mukohda discovers he has earth magic and practices stone bullet. Fel wants him to gain experience fighting, but Mukohda refuses. Mukohda notices Sway has grown bigger and thinks it might be from eating otherworldly items. He's glad that Sway eats rubbish as it was clogging up his item box. Fel demands meat, so Mukohda makes miso-marinated orc meat. Both Fel and Sway love it, and Mukohda notes that he is getting used to the food of this world. He also observes that Sway gains temporary buffs from the food. Sway then cleans the dishes by dissolving the dirt, which Mukohda is grateful for. He encourages Sway to grow bigger and decides to celebrate with dorayaki. Fel wakes Mukohda and tells him he has a message from Ninrir. Fel explains that Ninrir will give Mukohda a minor blessing, which will make him immune to status ailments, accept instant death and strong curses, and improve his magic if Mukohda offers a weekly prayer. Mukohda suspects the goddess wants sweets. Fel stresses the importance of sincerity when praying. Fel reveals that Ninrir's first requested offerings are anpan, cream bread, and melon bread. Mukohda is now convinced the goddess just has a sweet tooth. He sends the offerings with coffee milk and receives the blessing. Ninrir is delighted with the offerings, especially the anpan, and loves the coffee milk. She decides to savor the other sweets one by one. Mukohda's earth magic is noticeably better, and Sway has leveled up. He shares some chocolate with Sway. Fel pretends to be tired from carrying Mukohda and demands some chocolate too. Then Ninrir sends another message requesting chocolate and dorayaki. Mukohda questions her, as it hasn't been a week, but she claims gods need treats too. Ninrir admits to having eaten all the previous offerings. Mukohda reluctantly sends more. Fel is impressed with his devotion. Fel wants to see Mukohda's improved earth magic and implies taking him somewhere. We then see Ninrir, who reveals she's been watching Mukohda since he summoned otherworldly ingredients. She admits to wanting to eat the anpan, but can't interfere directly due to her position as a goddess. Mukohda, Fel, and Sway at the entrance of a dungeon. Fel explains that they are there to train Mukohda's earth magic, because real battle experience is necessary for improvement. Mukohda is apprehensive, but Fel assures him the dungeon is newly formed and only contains weak monsters. Before they enter, Mukohda uses his online grocery skill to buy various otherworldly foods. He tells Fel that eating these foods temporarily increases their stats. Inside the dungeon, they meet various monsters, starting with a slime that Sway defeats quickly with her strong acid attack. Fel is impressed by Sway's attack power and thinks that she might be a unique slime. They continue through the dungeon, battling horned rabbits, goblins, and kobolds. Mukohda finds himself using fire magic out of fear, despite Fel urging him to use earth magic. He also wonders why the monsters attack them even when they are with Fel, a powerful fenrir. Fel doesn't give him a clear answer. They reach the final floor of the dungeon, an open space where a large group of kobolds is waiting. There are now over 20 kobolds, instead of the 10 there were before, which worries Mukohda. Fel advises him to let Sway help him for now, assuring him that his barrier will protect them. While Sway fights the kobolds, a kobold king appears. Fel explains that it probably decided to come out after seeing its subordinates being killed. Mukohda is frustrated because Fel didn't warn him about this before, but he carries on fighting, using his earth magic to attack the kobold king. The battle goes on until Mukohda runs out of magic power. As the kobold king gets ready to attack, Sway steps in and protects Mukohda, who then loses consciousness. When he wakes up outside the dungeon, he finds out that Sway can now speak. Sway says she gained the ability to talk after defeating the kobold king. Mukohda checks Sway's status and is amazed by how much she has grown. She is now level 7 and has the acid bullet skill. He is also happy to find that he himself has gained 4 levels, reaching level 7, and obtained the earth magic skill. However, he is a little disappointed to realize his stats are lower than Sway's. Meanwhile, Fel, who left the dungeon to hunt while Mukohda was unconscious, comes back and demands to be rewarded with otherworldly food. Mukohda, still feeling tired from the battle, chooses to make a nourishing dish with eggs. He cooks a Japanese-style egg dish with rice for Fel and Sway. Both familiars love the meal and ask for more. Mukohda sees that his familiars have big appetites. He then notices that Sway is calling Fel Uncle Fel, which he finds very funny. Fel, however, is very embarrassed and tries to get Sway to just call him Fel. Mukohda tells Sway to keep calling Fel Uncle Fel, which makes the fenrir even more annoyed. Sway insists on calling Fel Uncle, explaining that it's because he's older, bigger, stronger, cool, always with them and kind. Fel gets frustrated and leaves again, using hunger as an excuse. The Orthros and Griffins each control territories in the forest. Humans normally have to travel around them to avoid trouble. Mukohda is surprised to hear that they are cutting through these territories, but Fel assures him that they are not a threat. Fel states that only young and fearless monsters will challenge him. As they enter Orthros territory, several Orthros appear and challenge Fel. Fel easily defeats the Orthros with his skill, Rending Claws, which imbues his claws with magic and sends out a slash that can shred his enemies. Fel created the skill 600 years ago. Sway asks if he can do that too, but Mukohda says he can't because he doesn't have claws. Mukohda assures Sway that his acid bullet skill is cool too. Fel tells Mukohda he is acting nervous and that the Orthros should not appear again because they learned their lesson. Fel then asks if his meal is ready. Mukohda realizes they have barely enough meat to get through the next 3 weeks. He decides to try cooking black serpent meat. After adding sugar and sake to the meat, he prepares a chili sauce. He adds the meat to a pan with ginger, garlic, onions, and green onions, then thickens it with starch. He calls the dish chili snake. Mukohda assures himself that the snake meat is chicken and declares it delicious. Both Fel and Sway love it. Fel and Mukohda spot some healing mushrooms. Fel explains that they can easily heal deep cuts and broken bones, and Mukohda suggests picking some. Sway wakes up and asks to eat some mushrooms. Mukohda agrees, but tells Sway not to overdo it. Mukohda thinks these mushrooms will be perfect for emergencies. Sway has stopped shining, and Mukohda checks on him. Sway says he doesn't know what happened, but the shinies stopped. Sway says nothing is wrong and he is healthy. Mukohda casts appraisal just in case. Mukohda notices that Sway has a new skill called healing potion creation and asks Fel if he knows anything about it. Fel says that Sway may have developed the skill after eating a large amount of healing mushrooms. He gives an example of a slime he witnessed that turned into a metal slime after only eating metal. The slime also obtained a special skill related to metal. Mukohda asks Fel if the evolutionary path of a slime is affected by what it eats and thinks to himself that the ability to make healing potions isn't a bad thing. Mukohda praises Sway, who asks if he is a good kid. Mukohda tells him he's a very good kid, the best. Sway shows Mukohda a bottle of healing potion he made. Mukohda casts appraisal on the potion and asks Fel if he knows what it is, but Fel says he doesn't. He then asks Sway what the high quality means, and Sway replies that it means it will make lots of alkies better. Mukohda asks if Sway can make other types of medicine, and Sway says he can also make medicine for little alkies. Mukohda tells Sway not to waste it. Mukohda observes that Sway can now make 3 types of potion. Fel says he's never seen a slime that could produce healing potions, and that Sway is also intelligent for a slime, making him unique. Mukohda tells Sway he is amazing, strong, and can make healing potions. And on top of that is cute. After 3 days of traveling in Griffin territory, they finally come across a Griffin. The Griffin speaks to Fel in the human language and asks him to fight, so he can become the head Griffin. Mukohda is surprised the Griffin can speak. Fel says he must be intelligent to be able to speak. The Griffin states that he is the only one who can speak the language. Mukohda tells Fel not to kill the Griffin. Sway wakes up. Fel tells the Griffin he can see he is prepared to lay down his life, then launches his attack. Mukohda can't see what is happening. Mukohda yells at Fel for going too far, but the Griffin says it's fine and thanks Fel for taking him seriously. Mukohda asks Sway for the potion that heals lots of alkies. Mukohda tells the Griffin that he managed to hurt the legendary beast Fenrir, even though the injury was small. Fel admits he is reluctant to admit it, but Sway healed the Griffin's injuries. The Griffin is then accepted as leader. He thanks Fel and gives Mukohda a gift, saying that his descendants will not eat anyone who passes through the territory. Mukohda is relieved that they will be able to get through the territory and thanks the Griffin. Fel tells Mukohda that he used more strength than normal and wants to be fed lots of meat. Mukohda complains that Fel eats a ton of meat every day. Mukohda decides to use up the rest of their meat and makes deep-fried orc cutlets. He covers tenderized orc meat with flour, whisked egg, and panko, adding another layer of panko to ensure the cutlets are crispy. After frying the meat, he slices it up and puts it on a bed of cabbage with sauce. Fel, Sway, and Mukohda enjoy the meal. Fel remarks that the food makes him think about what the orcs looked like, but Mukohda notes that the food just looks like normal tonkatsu. Mukohda says that orc meat is delicious. Fel and Sway demand another serving. Fel asks Mukohda if he has been sending offerings to the goddess Ninrir, and Mukohda realizes he forgot. Fel tells him to do it immediately. Mukohda says they are almost out of meat and need to go to the guild, but Fel is more concerned about the lack of meat. They spot a caravan being attacked by bandits, and Mukohda tells Fel to go save them, promising to make a luxurious dinner that night. Fel agrees enthusiastically. Lars, the leader of the Phoenix Adventurer Party, introduces himself to Mukohda and thanks him for the help. Lambert, the employer of the caravan, also thanks Mukohda and asks if Fel is his familiar. Lars comments that he's heard rumors of an adventurer who contracted a Fenrir as his familiar. Ninrir complains to Mukohda that he hasn't sent any prayers or offerings for over a week. Ninrir says he has been watching Mukohda and knows he just forgot. Mukohda apologizes and says he'll be more careful. Ninrir warns Mukohda not to let it happen again, saying he was close to sending another divine message. Mukohda offers Ninrir Western desserts as an apology. Ninrir is impressed with the variety and amount of desserts and tells Mukohda that he has to prepare the same amount next time. Mukohda, overhearing 2 guards discussing the rumors surrounding his Fenrir familiar, Fel, Guilds across the land are abuzz with speculation about Fel's true identity, thanks to a magic teleportation tool that enables rapid communication. While some believe Fel is a great wolf, the guard's leader insists on calling him a Fenrir. Mukohda is concerned about the attention a Fenrir might attract from nobles and leaders, especially given his own secret. He's an otherworlder with an item box and access to an online grocery. As promised, Mukohda treats Fel, Sway, and Lambert to a luxurious carriage meal using various leftover meats. The irresistible aroma wafting from Mukohda's cooking attracts the attention of the guards, who end up joining the feast and devouring every piece of carriage. Overwhelmed by the exquisite flavors, the guards offer to take overnight watch duty so Mukohda and his familiars can rest. Upon reaching the bustling city of Carolina, Mukohda learns that his adventurer's license has been revoked due to inactivity. He promptly re-registers, adding his slime familiar, Sway, to his registration. The guild receptionist seems bewildered by the presence of a slime familiar, while other adventurers in the guild hall openly mock Mukohda for having such a weak familiar. Unfazed, Mukohda confidently proceeds to sell the monster carcasses that Sway had efficiently hunted down during their travels. The guards who had enjoyed his cooking the previous night are shocked to learn they had unknowingly consumed such high-quality monster meat. They profusely apologize for their careless consumption of valuable ingredients and, in an attempt to make amends, offer Mukohda their protection in the city. No one in Carolina would dare mess with a friend of their leader. Reassured by their offer, Mukohda settles into a comfortable inn recommended by Lars. At the inn, Mukohda is reminded by the goddess of the wind, Ninrir, to send her offerings. He accesses his online grocery and purchases a selection of fancy pudding and jelly to appease the goddess. Mukohda then decides to familiarize himself with the adventurer ranking system and discovers that he needs points to increase his rank. Fel, eager to reach the ocean and savor more delicious seafood, urges Mukohda to hunt goblins as a quick way to earn points. Each goblin slain is worth 3 points. However, Mukohda is deeply reluctant. His previous encounters with goblins have left him with a slew of unpleasant memories. He vividly recalls the dungeon incident where he was forced to spend days cleaning up goblin corpses to prevent a dungeon outbreak. Sway, sensing Mukohda's hesitation, excitedly chirps in, expressing her desire to hunt goblins too. Unable to resist Sway's adorable plea, Mukohda caves in and accepts a goblin subjugation quest. Fel guides Mukohda and Sway to a group of goblins in the eastern forest. Sway makes quick work of the goblins with her powerful acid skill, earning praise from Mukohda. As they begin collecting goblin ears to prove their kills, more goblins appear, lured by the commotion. Fel, with his sharp senses, alerts Mukohda and Sway to the goblins' positions, allowing them to eliminate the creatures swiftly and efficiently. However, the sight of the numerous goblin corpses triggers Mukohda's anxieties. He is adamant about cleaning up the mess to prevent a potential dungeon outbreak, but the sheer number of bodies makes disposal difficult. Fel suggests burning the corpses, but Mukohda vetoes the idea, fearing they might start a forest fire. Finally, Fel instructs Sway to melt the corpses with her acid. Mukohda is doubtful about Sway's ability to handle so many corpses, but Sway assures him that she can do it. As Sway works diligently at dissolving the goblins, she undergoes another evolution, transforming into a big slime. Fel remarks that he has never witnessed such a sight in his long lifetime. Sway proudly announces the completion of her task, her evolution granting her the ability to split into multiple smaller slimes. Relieved that the goblin issue is resolved, Mukohda whips up a quick meal of curry bread for himself and his familiars. The episode concludes with the goddess of the wind, Ninrir, expressing her delight over the pudding and jelly offerings. She is particularly enamored by the jiggly texture and the exquisite taste that melts in her mouth. Meanwhile, other gods observe Ninrir's newfound obsession with the offerings from Mukohda's world and speculate about her secretive activities. Mukohda, reflecting on how he took on a goblin hunting quest to raise his adventurer rank as quickly as possible. Mukohda is surprised by the sheer number of goblins he ended up hunting and hopes it won't become a big deal. This leads to a meeting with the guild master, Willem. Willem informs Mukohda that he will be rewarded for clearing out the goblin settlement and is impressed by the strength of Mukohda's familiars, Fel and Sway. Willem reveals that the royal palace sent an urgent message requesting Mukohda's help in times of emergency. In exchange for this help, Mukohda is granted the freedom to live in the kingdom without interference from nobles. Recognizing the issue of Fenrir's master being only a G ranker, Willem uses his authority to promote Mukohda to C rank. Mukohda then reveals that he also has a chimera and orthos to sell, shocking Johan, a butcher at the guild. Johan is in awe of the S-rank monsters, leading Mukohda to internally reflect on Fel's overwhelming strength. Willem assures Mukohda that his C-rank guild card and payment for the monsters will be ready the next day. The scene transitions to Mukohda preparing a meal of rockbird bambanji and rockbird and pepper stir-fry for himself and his familiars. They enjoy the meal together, noting the refreshing taste and complimenting the Japanese food industry. The following day, Mukohda receives his silver C-rank guild card and payment for the monsters, which totals over 2,000 gold coins. Willem requests Mukohda to complete 2 quests, hunting a metal lizard and a pack of bloody hornbulls. Fel notes that the meat from bloody hornbulls is delicious, exciting both himself and Mukohda. Mukohda then buys a new knife sheath from Lambert, a leatherworker he saved previously. Lambert refuses payment, gifting Mukohda the sheath and new shoes as thanks for saving his life and for the high-quality meat Mukohda shared previously. Lambert asks to buy black serpent skin from Mukohda, but is disappointed to learn he already sold it. Mukohda promises to offer any future skins to Lambert first. Inspired by the earlier conversation, Mukohda and his familiars decide to hunt the metal lizard and enjoy a meal of carriage. Mukohda meticulously prepares a large batch of carriage. After successfully winning an eating contest against his familiars, Mukohda settles down to enjoy the remaining carriage. The episode concludes with Mukohda offering Japanese sweets to the goddess Ninrir. Ninrir loves the sweets, praising the different textures and flavors. She becomes flustered when Mukohda teases her about gaining weight. Mukohda and his familiars, Fel and Sway, on a quest to hunt a mithril lizard. Fel explains that the lizard's scales can absorb and diffuse magic, having its effectiveness. However, Fel is confident that he can overpower the lizard's ability with a strong enough spell. They find the lizard eating, and Fel kills it instantly with magic. Mukohda is excited to see the mithril or left behind, imagining all the weapons and tools that can be made from it. Fel, however, is unfazed and urges Mukohda to move on to their next quest, hunting bloody hornbulls. Fel easily defeats the herd of bloody hornbulls. Sway, wanting to help, joins the fight and uses her acid magic to take down the remaining bulls. Mukohda is surprised by Sway's strength and ability to use magic. They collect the meat and return to town. Later, Mukohda prepares a feast of bloody hornbull steak for himself and his familiars. He carefully grills the meat and serves it with various sauces, including a garlic-flavored steak sauce that Fel particularly enjoys. Fel comments that Mukohda's cooking has ruined his taste for raw meat. Back in town, Mukohda shows the mithril lizard to his merchant friends, Willem and Johan. They are shocked by the discovery, as the last record of a mithril lizard was 400 years ago. They tell Mukohda that the city lord will likely present the lizard's skin to the king as proof of a newly discovered mithril mine. Mukohda will receive a hefty reward of at least 5,000 gold coins. Mukohda is overwhelmed by the amount of money he is earning and worries that it will disrupt his peaceful life. As Mukohda, Fel, and Sway are walking back from town, they encounter 4 goddesses: Ninrir, Kisharl, Agni, and Rusalka. Ninrir is the goddess who previously bestowed a minor blessing on Mukohda. The other 3 goddesses, having heard about the delicious sweets Mukohda offered Ninrir, decide to bless him as well. Despite Mukohda's protests that one divine blessing is enough, the goddesses forcibly bestow their blessings upon him. Rusalka, however, is reluctant to bless Mukohda as she only blesses one person every 100 years. She worries that the god of creation will be angry with her for blessing someone so soon after her last blessing. To appease Rusalka, Mukohda suggests that she bless Sway instead. The goddesses agree, and Rusalka blesses Sway with water magic. Mukohda is amazed by the power of the goddess's blessings. He tests out his enhanced magic abilities and is surprised to find that he is not tired at all despite using a lot of magic. Sway also tries out her new water magic and creates a large amount of water on her first try. Mukohda cautions Sway against using her acid and water magic on people or in towns. The episode ends with Mukohda and Sway practicing their magic. Fel goes hunting and brings back a black snake for Mukohda to sell to a merchant. Mukohda is pleased with the progress he and his familiars have made and is grateful for the goddess's blessings. Mukohda and Fel are discussing their plans for the day. Mukohda has recently ranked up as an adventurer, so he doesn't feel the need to hunt. Fel, however, is happy to hunt every day, much to Mukohda's chagrin. Mukohda suggests delivering the black serpent that Fel hunted to Lambert, a leather merchant. At the guild, Mukohda meets with Johan and delivers the black serpent. Johan is surprised that Mukohda is able to casually produce such a valuable monster. He agrees to sell everything but the meat and the skin. Mukohda and Fel return home to eat. Later, Mukohda is preparing a new dish, bloody hornbull and orc general hamburger steak. He uses his item box to store extra patties. After grilling and steaming the patties, he finishes them with a sauce made from ketchup and Worcestershire sauce. Fel and Sway are impressed with the meal, particularly the cheese filling in some of the patties. While washing up, Mukohda gets the idea to sell bath products in the other world. He thinks that because soap already exists, people won't be suspicious. He plans to sell the bath products while meeting with Lambert. Mukohda meets with Lambert to deliver the black serpent skin, which Lambert is very happy with. Lambert is even more impressed when Mukohda shows him his new line of bath products: soap, medicinal hair cream, and hair mask. Lambert explains that he's been looking for a gift for his wife, and these are perfect because she loves to take baths. After Mukohda returns home, he is summoned back to the guild. He receives 5,800 gold coins for the mithril lizard he previously delivered. A low-rank party has been attacked by a swarm of wyverns while hunting on the western plains. Many are injured and poisoned. Mukohda offers some of his high-quality potions, which not only heal, but also detoxify. The guild issues an emergency quest to hunt down the wyverns, requiring all adventurers C rank and higher to participate. Fel volunteers to handle the wyverns alone and states that any wyverns he hunts belong to him. The guild master agrees to this and offers a reward. Fel, Sway, and Mukohda head out to hunt the wyverns. Fel easily dispatches most of the wyverns. He grows hungry from the exercise, and the group stops for a meal of ground meat cutlets. Meanwhile, back at the city, the guild master is concerned that even Fel might not be able to handle so many wyverns. In another part of the world, three heroes discuss how they need to become stronger to defeat the Demon King and return home. They lament the quality of the food in this world. Mukohda and his magical friends, Fel and Sway, finally came back to the guild after a long time. They had been on a mission to take down all the wyverns in the plains. The guild members were super excited to see them because they thought even Fel, the mighty Fenrir, might struggle with such a tough job. Mukohda felt a bit shy admitting they took so long because they were busy enjoying some tasty meals. Fel, being Fel, proudly declared the wyverns were no big deal and blamed the delay on their eating breaks. The people of Carolina were so thankful for the group's bravery. They could now sleep peacefully, knowing the wyverns were gone. Mukohda handed over 13 whole wyvern bodies, minus the heads, to the guild. Johan, one of the guild members, asked if they wanted the guild to cut up the wyverns. Mukohda nodded and said he only wanted the meat. The guild agreed to do it for free, but mentioned they could only afford to buy half of the materials. Mukohda happily agreed. Later, Mukohda received some divine messages from the goddesses. Ninrir, the goddess of wind, demanded more sweets, especially dorayaki. Kisharl, the goddess of beauty, wanted soap and shampoo after seeing what Mukohda had sold. Rusalka, another goddess, asked for a taste of Mukohda's delicious meals. Mukohda reminded them that their secret messages weren't so secret because everyone could see the offerings. The goddesses then started openly competing for goodies like booze, food, and of course, more dorayaki. Feeling a bit awkward after the wyvern chaos, Mukohda decided it was time to leave town. He bought a big green tub from a store and, with Fel and Sway, headed out. Fel went hunting while Mukohda set up a cozy bath. Using his magic, he built a stone tub, filled it with water, thanks Sway, and heated it with a fireball spell. They used soap, shampoo, and yuzu bath salts to enjoy a relaxing soak. For dinner, Mukohda cooked 2 yummy dishes with the wyvern meat, a special gyudon and a hearty stew. But just as he was ready to enjoy the meal, Fel returned with a giant earth dragon. Mukohda was shocked. How was he going to deal with all these rare monsters? Fel, on the other hand, was only interested in how tasty the dragon meat might be. Before they could eat, Mukohda noticed Fel was filthy. He insisted on giving Fel a bath, much to Fel's horror. Mukohda used dog shampoo and grooming tools from his magical online grocery, even though Fel kept grumbling. "I'm a Fenrir, not a dog." After the bath, Fel's fur was so shiny and fluffy that even Sway was impressed. Finally, Fel enjoyed the gyudon and stew. He loved the pickled red ginger and how it refreshed his palate. Mukohda told him he'd need to bathe more often, at least once or twice a month, to stay clean. When Mukohda showed the earth dragon to the guild, the members were stunned. They couldn't handle such a huge creature. Willem suggested Mukohda visit the guild master in Dolan, who was an expert on dragons. He even gave Mukohda a letter of introduction and a map. So, Mukohda, Fel, and Sway set off on another adventure. They were excited about meeting the Dolan guild master and turning the rare monsters into delicious meals. Who knows what tasty dishes and exciting challenges awaited them next?